What's up guys, my name is Rising, and the patch notes for the Season 11 of Call of Duty Mobile is finally here, which contains quite a lot of interesting buffs, as well as a handful of nerfs. And let us dive deep into those, discussing whether the changes are practically impactful or not.
Also, you must know that these are just test server details, and things may change once the season drops. In that case, I'll mention the additional changes in the pinned comment of this video so that you can quickly have a look. A quick disclaimer, I won't be providing builds for any of the guns mentioned here in this video, but as soon as the season drops, I'll be doing gun guides for each of them.
So without further ado, let us start with the assault rifle category, and firstly we have the Lag 53, whose minimum ADS spread got significantly buffed from 14.8 to 8. This is quite impactful since the Lag is a slow-firing weapon where missing shots is highly punishing, and with this buff you can now easily challenge longer ranges without requiring you to play a guessing game on hitting your shots. Its bullet impact also got significantly buffed to 1.6, which is now the highest in its category and the second highest full auto bullet impact in the entire game.
This buff will definitely make the enemies have a hard time challenging you if you're hitting them with the lag. Additionally, it also got a lower arm multiplier buff, which now deals 5% more damage. This buff has no effect in your maximum damage range up close, but it helps in the medium damage range, where now you need a single lower arm shot and a torso shot to achieve a 2-shot kill. And since your lower arms generally block your torso, this buff will make the weapon a lot more consistent and even may make it a fair competitor to the Odin.
Next up, we have the Vargo, whose base bullet velocity got improved to 780 meters per second, which means it got a little more than 2 meters of a hit scan range, which is nice, I guess. The 414mm custom barrel now also improves your bullet velocity by 20%, which is great. However, these buffs wouldn't be necessary at first place if the gun already had a bullet velocity on par with other assault rifles. The 8mm Mauser rounds also got a lower arm multiplier buff, which means now you can 3-shot in the maximum damage range by hitting 3 lower arm shots. It also helps in the 3rd damage range, where you can now 4-shot if you hit the lower arms, but only if you want to stretch to those ranges with its poor bullet velocity and awful recoil. And that wraps up with the assault rifles. Next up for the SMGs, we have the QXR, whose sprint speed got improved from 6.45 meters per second to 6.6 meters per second, which is now above SMG average. Its enhanced bolt also got a minor buff in its fire interval, going down by just 2 milliseconds, which barely changes its time to kill. But since the time to kill of the QXR is already very solid, this buff is welcoming. Its marksman barrel got a damage range buff going up from 18% to 24%, which is again very welcoming, especially if you pair it up with monolithic suppressor. I have already covered the QXR as part of my gun guides, so if you want detailed analysis and builds, feel free to watch it.
Up next, we have everybody's favorite SMG, the good old MP5. Its bullet spread got a nice buff, which is not so good by any means, but is fine for the ranges you'll be generally taking your engagements. Next, we have the Striker 45, whose 3rd and 4th damage phases got improved by 1 and 3 respectively, although it has no impact on its shots to kill. And I don't know who was that person who thought of nerfing its stomach multiplier from 1.1 to 1 times. I'm not sure whether this is a bug or not, but if it isn't, then I'll elaborate on this once I cover the Striker 45 as part of my gun guides.
And finally, we have a nerf on the most anticipated weapon, the USS-9, this time to its 41 action express rounds, which now reduces your BSA by 25% instead of 15. And that's pretty much it. No nerf to its range, recoil, or body multipliers. This nerf is again very small, just like the other 3 nerfs that were imposed on this weapon in the past 1 year or so. This nerf doesn't do anything to the weapon's main strengths, which are its sheer lethality and ease of use, and I won't be surprised anymore if the gun keeps staying at the top of the tier list.
And with that, we're done with the SMGs. Moving on to the LMGs, firstly we have perhaps the least used LMG in the game, the Dingo, whose range profile got improved by 3 meters in the maximum and medium damage ranges. Its Black Ops suppressor now reduces your horizontal recoil by 10%, which is nice, as recoil is a huge drawback on this weapon. And the range buff on the weapon counters the range penalty on the Black Ops suppressor pretty nicely. The Black Ops stock now has a movement speed buff by 3%, which also indirectly improves your sprint as well as strafe speed by 3%. This stock now functions as a no-stock attachment on this bullpup weapon and might be the best stock now to use in the Dingo. Its Steel Rain stock now has an additional 10% of strafe speed boost, which is nice, but the other stock might have better practicality than this.
Next, we have the Raw LMG, which saw a huge improvement to its aim down sight, going down by 60 milliseconds. Its movement speed also got a great improvement, which indirectly improves its sprint and strafe speed as well, since they are classified as part of the base movement speed in this game. And with that, we're done with LMGs, and coming now to the sniper rifles, we have only one on here, which is the LW3 Tundra. It saw a nerf to its Hammer Forged barrel, which now has a 20% hit flinch increment, as well as a 35% lung refresher reduction, which is the term used for steady aim count in this speed. With this nerf, our steady aim count goes down by almost a second. These nerfs might have been impactful only if the Tiger Team barrel didn't exist, which most players tend to run on the Tundra. So at the end of the day, the Tundra will still be the same in terms of performance, and arguably the second best sniper in the game, depending on whether you can run the 3-line or not.
Next up, we have the shotguns, starting with arguably the best shotgun in the game, the HS-0405, whose extended barrel now reduces your sprint speed by 3% and also increase your fire interval by 5%. These nerfs are pretty minor, and the HSO will remain as the best shotgun in the game. And finally, we have the Einhorn Revolving, which actually needed around a dozen more buffs to be viable, but thankfully we have one in here, which is to its reload time. Although the value is unspecified, we have to wait for the update to drop to get the correct value of its reload time.
And with that, we're done with all of the weapons that got adjusted in this patch. Now we have few miscellaneous changes, which we'll blast through as fast as possible. The stim shot now no longer slows you down while using it, and you can sprint and pop it up without interrupting it. As for operator skills, the bold charge and tac deploy has lesser energy requirement. The Havoc now has increased charge while you kill enemies, and it can now disrupt enemies' operator skill charges while using it. As for BR classes, the Ninja has a slight movement speed increment. The max deploy radius of the Spotter is reduced from 150 meters to 100 meters. It has a reduced explosive damage, and explosions no longer slows enemies down. And finally, we have the Shockwave, whose effective radius got reduced from 15 meters to 10 meters. And with that wraps it up with all of the changes for Season 11, 2025 of Call of Duty Mobile. As for my thoughts on the balance patch, few of the changes were quite welcoming. There's nothing that significantly alters a weapon's performance, which means the meta will remain the same for another season as well, unless they introduce other changes later once the update drops. In that case, I'll mention the changes in the pinned comment of this video down below. I'm also very interested in covering few of the weapons which got buffed in this patch, which I actually wanted to cover long back, but was waiting for a patch on them. I guess now's the time to do so.
But of course, those were just my thoughts on the balance patch. Now I'd love to hear from you guys. What do you think of this patch? Did any of your favorite weapons get buffed? And is there any weapon you want to try out now that the patch is live? Just let your thoughts in the comment section down below. Join my Discord server to again access to all of my recommended builds for all of the weapons in the game, as well as other analysis which I've done. Make sure you subscribe if you want to see future content, and leave a like on this video. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.